Hi, everyone. Thank you, first of all, for having me here. My name is Giulia Stefenelli, and I'm formerly an academic, atmospheric scientist, who joined the publishing industry in 2020. I would like to take this opportunity to discuss and have a reflection with you about peer review, because it's a very dear subject to me. And I found that this conference is the second year I attended, and it's very focused on peer review and very relevant for discussion and reflection around it. Okay, let's start off with very basic. What is the peer review role and what does it mean, peer review? First of all, I like to share with you that there are very interesting resources online, also provided by EASE and Cactus, for example, related to the peer review history, which is really nice to see that the concept of peer review is old and established, and it goes back to 1665. So as an history, and maybe it's not something we should discard immediately before finding ways to improve the current procedures. What is peer review? Peer review, basically, it's a process that ensures valuation and validation of scientific results. It's a collaborative process because it involves different stakeholders, from academic editors to publishers and to reviewers. And why it is so important, it's because it makes the scientific output more reliable to the scientific community. In what sense? In the sense that ensures that research is credible and also relevant to the discipline of relevance. It also helps to detect error and gaps within the studies, make the study more clear and readable for the general audience, and ensures also scientific integrity and promotes high academic standards. How open access as a publishing model can support the trust in peer review process? So there are several things to say here. First of all, the fact that anyone can access research results, methods, and data increase the trustability of the findings. The fact that editors' name and profiles are public, so every single publication is associated with a specific expert in the field, also helps the credibility. The peer review can be open too in the open access peer review model. That means that peer review notes, author responses can be published alongside research articles, so to provide actually a window inside the relevance and the reliability of the peer review process occurred. And last but not less important is the fact that open access model promotes a more diverse and inclusive peer review environment. Why? Because it allows researchers from different backgrounds to engage and contribute in the peer review process, and so reduces the geographical and institutional barriers, making it a more representative environment. Just to provide an example, a case study from MDPI. So we run the peer review model as open peer review since 2018. And throughout this year, we had a range of participation between 10 and 30% of the overall output published. And as of end of 2024, 21% of the authors publishing with MDPI opted for the peer review option open, which seems a very relevant number. What are the current challenges? So there is a very interesting workshop ongoing these days about peer review and challenges. And here I'm summarizing the challenges that I think are very commonly understood. First of all, there is an increased amount of submission for every publisher that results in increased workload for reviewers. The second point, I would like to share with you a report which you're probably familiar with, but I found it a very interesting report from IOP Publishing about the state of peer review in 2024. And basically they are asking researchers what's the motivational factor for them to actually accept an invitation for reviewing versus declining it. And what we can see is that this survey, this research study has been run in 2020 and in 2024. The only variable that has a major changes throughout the year is the fact that reviewers feel that they are not properly recognized, and they are now asking for actually incentives that are even monetary incentives. So the lack of recognition and motivation for reviewer is definitely a challenging factor. The manipulation and unethical practices ongoing in peer review is an absolute challenging item, because there are groups or individuals that are gaming the system, introducing biases, and here we are talking about citation cartel, fake peer reviewers, or vouchers farming activities. And the fact that there is limited training and accountability, it's also a major issue for peer review contributions. Now, what can a publisher realistically do to tackle those challenges? First of all, providing fair recognition and incentives for reviewers. So publishers need to come up with methods that provide non-monetary incentives and establish a transparent system to retain the engaged reviewers. For example, MDPI is providing these voucher system. So you are given a voucher based on the review output that you provide, and you can use it as a discount for next submission. We're also running a pilot initiative with some institution that has an agreement with us that allows reviewers to pull in like their unused vouchers and can be used by affiliated researcher within the same institution. So to avoid wastes of peer review contribution. Strengthen the submission screening is also very important. So publisher can implement standardized screening process that ensure that only ethically and technically compliant submission reach academic editors. So to remove a bit the burden of administrative and technical screening from the academic editor side. Facilitate quality checks and accountability. So publisher can implement very rigorous checks to check review reports and escalate critical issue to the academic editors. And also verify the credential of reviewers. It's very important, and enforce strategy that ensures safeguard of conflict of interest. As an example for strengthening the submission screening, MDPI always favors human evaluation, but we also heavily rely on resources from partners and industry bodies to uphold technical and ethical standards. And when it comes to lack of accountability and quality check or structured peer review and education, what MDPI is implementing is maintaining a very structured peer review workflow with specific milestone and checkpoints with academic editor, and provide mentoring programs, onboarding calls, and training materials for all the parties involved in the peer review process. Also, a pilot initiative is introduced with peer review structured form. So for specific journals and specific discipline, we can provide more instruction to reviewers about what we want to know when they review the articles. Last 10 seconds. How can we really close the gap? So I think we need to become aware that publisher can only do a certain level of effort to achieve the wished desired results. But how to close the gap and ensure sustainability? I think it's really important that key enablers like institution and academic plays a role in recognizing and rewarding peer reviewers and integrating peer review activity into the career progression and evaluation of scholars. And at the same time, funding bodies can actually implement mandates by which requiring peer review engagement is a condition for fundings. So what we are seeking for is a collaborative effort from all the parties where publisher can provide training, expertise, and resources and tools, but in the end, it needs a strong collaboration between institution founders and publishers to reinforce the peer review as a core tool for validating scientific findings. Thank you very much.